Greetings, everyone. Hello, hello. Welcome. Um, Familiar faces and new faces. It's great to see you. Welcome to the webinars. Mm.
Welcome, welcome. What a treat to see some faces, new and old. Thank you for showing up. It's exciting to share this with you. Well,
Yeah, thank you for finding the time in the holidays time for these webinars, for these possibilities, and maybe this in the middle of the holidays, summer holidays, maybe today and during the webinars days, we have holy days, holy with Y. May these webinars serve in this way, that they are holy days and they have holy openings for you, for us, for the world. It's great to have you here.
Well, Eleni and I have a little ritual that some of you know. We love to start every time together with a little dedication, and we light a candle. We like to light a candle and offer the work that we're going to do together to something that is greater than us. So if you have a candle with you, you can join us. And if you don't have a candle, you can just light the candle of your heart as we do this. There's so many ways. The idea is just to tune in for a minute and just leave everything that's happened so far today on pause so you can connect to what we're about to offer and live together. So just you may want to close your eyes for that, and just taking a moment to take a deep breath. And just connect to your body, where it is sitting or standing or laying. And through that, feeling what is supporting you today to be here. And as we slowly turn to the candle on the table or in our hearts or in our lungs, let's offer this work that we're about to do together to Earth and to all living beings on this earth at this very moment, as it is for them, for all of us that we're doing this work. And let's even stretch our feeling imagination into offering this work to the next 5, 6, 7, 8 generations, all the ones who will come after us and who somehow are already here. And when you're ready, in your own way, let's bring the fire. Welcome.
It's beautiful, right? How we first invite earth and then fire, and then the rest can go on. Maybe we don't do this frequently, or maybe we do. But I love how we open that gate first to the earth that supports us and all the beings and all, the future ones and the previous ones and the fire. And then, we arrive slowly to who we are. Who we are, us to me and Lucy, that we are going to host these webinars. And actually, when we say us to, we are us to, but we are among the wisdom of the earth, and the wisdom within you is also doing great work. We are just bringing forth and guiding what is here. My name is Eleni. I am a woman, I'm a mother, I am a priestess, I'm a siren, I am a human development guide, I am mad in a way, mad for the world, mad for mad and filled with hope and with faith for change, for transformation, for the future, for making things impossible being possible. You can call me Eleni or Siren or Priestess, and I'm deeply honored to be here with you and serve my mission and serve the earth and the 6, 7, 8 generations to come and serve you. Yeah, thank you.
And my name, as it says on the Zoom label, is Lucy. And the soul name I live by is Moonlight Pearl. So you may call me Moonlight. I am a woman, a mother, I'm a widow, I'm a daughter, a granddaughter, a great-granddaughter, I'm a soul initiation guide. And I am everything that all these commitments bring me to. And it's an honor to tune in with all of you.
We have gathered here today, all of us, within a project which is called The Road to Soul. That's that's a project with little many activities. This is actually the last one, and this project was all about eco-soul centric development. And if these are not clear, we're going to speak about them in a while. But we want to honor the ones making it possible to be here for free, which is the Erasmus Plus program of the European Union. And I like to say that they invest in us, because they do. They invest their money, our money, but they invest their money because they kind of believe our mission and what we think that it can change the world. And therefore, through the project and the European Union invests in you. Invest in you as human beings, as educators, as teachers, as youth workers, as parents, as friends, as adults, future elders. Invest in you and the change that you can bring in the world. So gratitude for the Erasmus Plus, for making it possible and for trusting us. And what follows? Moonlight, it's you.
That's what the paper says. So you have joined us today on the first of 4 webinars, and you may we very much hope so. You may be with us for the 4 of them, or you may tune in and out. And in these 4 webinars, we're exploring the life of soul. We are exploring what life might be, what our individual and collective lives might be when and if we follow the breadcrumbs of our unique, individual, mysterious souls. We're going to talk much more about this today in this first session. And in the ones to come, we're going to focus on 2 gates that we have identified. And there are many, but these 2 seem to really echo in all our soul stories. And we have called them, well, we haven't called them, it's Bill Plotkin who called them crisis and call. And they are 2 ways, among others, who tend to happen in our life as doorways, as ways that our soul reaches out to us. And we could very well, in our culture, miss that. We could very well not see it and continue to undergo life, not as an agent, but as a victim of our culture, instead of being an agent of our soulful path. So we're going to explore that. This first session is about the life of soul, broadly, the arch of that. The next one will focus on crisis and what that means, and exploring maybe a reframing of the crises we have lived or we may be living, or that might be to come. Then we'll look at the call, how soul just barges into our lives sometimes with magical revelation. And then we'll look in the 4th seminar at how what life might look like if we tend to crises and calls, and if we cultivate those seeds on a daily basis, something you could call the soulful life. Is there anything you'd like to add, Siren? So that's the menu of our 4 sessions, and today we're focusing on the story of soul. And I believe, as another tradition of ours, we're going to offer you a poem to start with.
Indeed, we have a poem, and maybe it's a familiar poem, or maybe you hear it for the first time. Whatever it is, let it be heard as if it is for the first time, or because both poems have several gates. Now we're using this word gates, but poems have several gates, spiraling us down, further down, further down. So let this poem find you in a new way. It's called The Way It Is. There's a thread you follow. There's a thread you follow. It goes among things that change. Things around it change, but it doesn't change. People wonder about what you're pursuing. Of course, you have to explain about the thread, but it is hard for others to see. While you hold it, you can't get lost. Tragedies happen. People get hurt or die, and you suffer and get old. Nothing you do can stop time's unfolding. You don't ever let go of the thread. There is a thread you follow. It's an invisible thread, but you follow it. It goes among things that change, but the thread itself doesn't change. People wonder about what you're pursuing. Maybe they don't see the thread, or maybe they see it, but it looks weird. You have to explain about the thread to everybody, but it is hard for others to see. While you hold it, you can't get lost. While you hold it, you can't get lost. Tragedies around you happen, people get hurt or die, and you suffer and get old. Nothing you do can stop time's unfolding. You don't ever, ever let go of the thread. By William Stafford. So what is that thread that you're following, that we are following, that everybody's following, that is invisible, that is pulling you into things that change, that is leading you into tragedies and suffering, and it's making you never ever get lost? What is that kind of thread? Where does it come from? Where does it go? Just leaving you a few seconds here with these questions to echo within you. What's that thread? Mm-hmm.
One of you have just responded. It's passion. It's a whisper from my soul. And I imagine many more responses are floating, perhaps still in the making. We might dare say, might take us a lifetime to figure out what that is. Yet we sense it. It's like the thread in the dark. We can't see it, but our thumbs find it. But if we lose it, it's much harder to find when the room is dark. That poem is dear to me. It's actually on my altar. It's the one guiding poem for many, many, many years. And in the framework of what we're offering today, we're proposing that this thread might be soul. And soul is a word that is used in so many contexts. So we might all understand very different things from this word. So just here, for the sake of this webinar, we're just going to clarify that what we mean by soul here is, again, Bill Plotkin's definition of soul. And that is this part of us that is unique. There's a part of us that's universal, that's one with all. And there is a part of us that is unique to each of us. That is, if you like, the roots of us. That is what makes me different from you. And it is a unique, essential, vital place of belonging in this world, in the ecology of all living beings. And by place, I don't mean geography. It could be, but not necessarily. More than that, I mean a role, a place to be, something to fulfill. Like oak tree plays a role in the ecology of life that no one else can. Oak tree serves the earth and the trees and the worms in a way that no other being serves it. And salmon has another way, has another part to play. And it would never occur to salmon to try to be an oak, because then salmon's place would not be fulfilled and there'll be a hole in our ecology. So what we mean by soul is that it's this essential root of you, of each of us, that has brought us here because we each have a mission to do or a mission to be. Sometimes mission brings pressure, but it's more to be. There is something essential, an essential gift for each of us to bring, to incarnate, to bring into being. And by incarnating that, we are in touch with all living beings because we take our place.
Mhm. Yeah, I love what you said, Moonlight. It's a way of being, because it is what we're born to be. And actually, the more natural we are, the more we are, the closer we are to this. So it doesn't require a lot of force and pushing to live by soul or connect with soul. It just it's just about being, and because this is what we are born to be. Um, and through our being, we are serving. Uh, so it's a I think it's a little bit revolutionary in the world that we're born, that it's all about doing and doing and acquiring and having that, degree and that master and that PhD and I don't know, that certificate and this certificate and making sure that we're qualified. No, we are pre-qualified. Uh, we are pre-qualified and we are beautiful and great just because we are. Uh, Born with soul, from soul. Um, yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to underline the word being, becoming who we are meant to be, and living what we're born to be. Because obviously there are more ways to be in this world other than this one. Um, yeah, and maybe just one more thing, and I'm following what you said earlier, Moonlight. Um, I love the examples you gave about salmon and what was the other one? There was an insect.
Oak tree.
Oh, the oak tree. Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, and maybe one oak tree, then another oak tree have a different way of being, and that's what happens with us. We're all humans, but we're not having the same soul. Each one of us uh, has a different one. Um, and every oak tree and every owl and every salmon has their own, and that's how we are contributing and serving the ecosystem and the 6, 7, 8 generations to come. Not just the current ones, also the other ones that are still waiting to come. And yeah, soul. Soul is calling us. Uh, that's why the title, the soul is calling us. Crisis and call, soul is calling us, and soul brings crisis. Uh, and and we're gonna speak about them in a little while, but um, that's how we are entering a soulful life. And what does a soulful life mean? Maybe even the word soulful is landing on you. Maybe it means uh, purposeful. Maybe it means um, in service. Maybe it means um, living the deeper story that we were born to live. Maybe it means um, mm, doing something beyond um, mm, what community, society, modern society tells us. Um, Something that is very sacred, and that's the deepest authenticity of each one of us. Yeah, yeah. So soul is calling, is luring, is giving the thread, is pulling, and soul is also shaking and bringing crisis. And these are doors and gates and ways for us to meet this one.
Mm. Yeah, and maybe to echo William Stafford in the poem that we have just shared. What if soul was this thread, and the thread is not going to prevent tragedies from happening, or getting old, or dying, or suffering, or breaking down, or breaking through. But what if we lived life and all these events that we call crises as as ongoing conversation with soul, as many crises and calls, as many life events, as many ways that soul trying to reach out to us. What if we developed and lived soul centrically as opposed to ego centrically? And what would that do to us individually and then to our culture? If we each, instead of trying to fit in, instead of trying to join in, what if we all simply remembered our place of belonging? Imagine the confidence, imagine the gift, the power that we would all have, and we would therefore all have together. So what we are offering here, what we are, well, not offering, we can't offer that to anyone, but what we're talking about here and what Bill is talking about is, a real chance for cultural revolution. Simply that. What if we all individually and then culturally lived and developed soul centrically?
Soul centrically, meaning with soul and the wild nature in the middle, around around which everything gravitates. Mm. Mm. Well, we're going to deepen into these in these 4 webinars, and we don't want to lose any time. We want to bring you into the timelessness right now. We want to invite you for a storytelling. We want to share a story with you. So I see some of you are already sitting comfortably. Yeah, you may sit comfortably or uncomfortably, whatever will make you more available to a story. And this story is for you. You the one listening right now. This is for you. If you are feeling overwhelmed by life, the story is for you. If you're feeling hungry for life, in love with life, the story is for you. If you're feeling tired, if you're holding pain, if you're feeling exhausted, if you're feeling angry, the story is for you. If you're feeling nothing, the story is for you. If you're feeling ecstatic joy, the story is also for you. No matter who you are, the story is for you. Make it your story. Open your heart to this story. And as you open your heart to the story, I'm inviting you to just for a little while close your eyes. Close your eyelids. And if you feel like, you may want to cover your eyes with your palms. And why? Because this story begins from the darkness, and maybe by closing your eyelids and placing your palms over your eyes, maybe you see or experience or feel or sense a little bit of the darkness. The story begins in the darkness, in the vast night, in the great darkness of the cosmos, where everything belongs, where everyone belongs, even you, even me, even Earth. And in that darkness and in that vastness and in that huge night, gods and goddesses and mystery and oneness and universe are whispering and are creating and are imagining beings. They are visioning souls. They are crafting. They are creating. They are creating you and me and us and the world. They are in a way spell casting souls. This is what gods and goddesses and oneness and mystery do. They are creating souls, beings with a mission, with a thread, with a life force, with soul, with a unique something, a very unique something. It is said by Rainer Maria Rilke that God speaks to us as he makes us, or Goddess speaks to us as she makes us. Then she walks silently with us out of the night. And these are the words we dimly hear. You, sent out beyond your recall, go to the limits of your longing. Embody me, flare up like a flame, and make big shadows I can move in. Let everything happen to you, beauty and terror. Just keep going. No feeling is final. Don't let yourself lose me. Nearby is the country they call life. You will know it by its seriousness. Give me your hand. God and Goddess says, in the middle of the darkness, as she creates humans, souls, beauties. Mm-hmm.
And so before we come into being, into flesh, before we're born, before we cross the veil, the one of us makes a promise of some kind, or signs a contract of some kind, or says yes to something. It may be something that we choose, or it may be something we are summoned for. But either way, our soul says yes to it. And as we say yes, it's like the signature of us transforms into a body of flesh, and we enter this world. The body, the vehicle that we're given in order to live out this sacred contract, this place of belonging, this gift to bring to this very place, at this very time of history, this promise that we have said yes to. We are given a body of flesh to do that in, to do that with. And for the rest of our life, it's like our body is this sacred reminder of that sacred contract. And because we know before crossing that a part of us will forget as we cross. We will forget because that's the nature of the experience of being human, at least at first. We will forget what we came for, a part of us only. Another part will have never forgotten. But we're given clues. We're given reminders. Before we cross, as we sign, it's like sacred signatures are placed on our bodies, mysterious tattoos, mysterious images are imprinted into the vehicle of our incarnation. Weird, strange things like an owl tattooed on our hearts, like a hologram. It's not really visible to all, and it will come into being when it's needed. Or moss on our toes, or talons on our hands, or a moon on our belly, or a spider on our back. It's like little clues to never forget. And if we should lose our way, those allies might call us back. And so we cross into being with this magical vehicle imprinted with soul.
Mm. And when we do that, from the darkness of the sky, we fall into the darkness of the womb. And from the darkness of the womb, we grow, our body grows and grows until there is no more space. And we think that's it, that's the end of the world. But guess what? Then we go out of that womb with pain. And out of the womb comes the light. And we land on earth slowly and gradually. And we're learning the ways of the human shape. We're learning the ways of the skin and the muscle and the bone, and we're learning the ways of the community, and we're learning the ways of the family, and we're learning the ways to be human. And David White says to be human is to become visible while carrying what is hidden as a gift to others. So from that moment of our birth, we are learning how to be human by striving to become visible while carrying what is hidden as a gift to others. To remember the other world, the one of this great mysterious night from which we emerge. In this world is to live our true inheritance. And maybe in that fresh days, weeks, months, even years of life on earth, maybe we do still remember the contract, the soul gift, the thread. Maybe we still do remember. Some of us do. And the parents might be able to see. And not only the parents, maybe the caregivers, maybe the teachers, maybe strangers, and maybe those ones give give a support word so that the way it's easier to reconnect with soul. And some parents, maybe it's your parents, my parents, some teachers, some strangers on the street neglect or don't want to see the gift that we carry. And through this rejection or suppression, they're still making it more visible to us. But it takes time. It takes time for us to see it again. But as Goddess says, hold my hand. You're not a travel guest on this earth. You're not an accident amidst other accidents. You were invited from another and greater night. Again, David White's words. So here we are, growing up, remembering, not remembering. Some adults can see it, majority of them maybe don't see our gift. And how does life go on how does life goes on afterwards? What happens? Mm.
Mm. Well, the one of us who remembers might be attracted to specific interests, might manifest amazing gifts, might have what we deem unreasonable, unexplainable callings to sports, professions, relationships, beings, ways of being. All those might just be that one who is still with 2 feet rooted in soul. And whether the culture around us allows us to and supports us to grow this, well, that's also part of our path. And we might come to that blessed time where we're not yet an adult, but we're no longer a child, and everything becomes more intense. Some people call that teenage time, where passions arise and explode. And again, soul may be so visible there in our expressions, in the choices we make or in the choices we don't make, in what oozes out of us, in what we can't repress. Or we might have repressed it by then, so much, so deep, as teenagers can be really disturbing to our culture. And maybe we live that quietly, so quietly that we even forget. And we might start a long path of conforming. And there's no right and wrong, it's all part of our path. But we might start to put more and more soil on top of the seed of soul. Mystery goddess knows that all this soil will feed the seed at some point, but right now it makes it more invisible and it makes it too heavy to pierce and see.
But meanwhile, it's making sure that we are developing the skills for merging with soul. It's making sure that during these moments of adolescence, we are falling in love. We're feeling attracted to other beings, to other humans. And we're learning the ways of courting, the ways of loving, the ways of falling in love. For what reason other than ultimately falling in love with soul? For what reason other than learning the ways of courting soul and being courted by soul and answering the courting of soul? For what reason other learning the ways not of only of loving, but of falling, because to be one with soul again requires a fall into a trap in a way, but in a good kind of trap, in a sacred union kind of trap that makes life sacred from that moment on. So all that happens in adolescence, whether it's falling in love or trying to be number one or trying to conform or trying to be more beautiful or more sexy, is all ways of crafting the skills of courting and being courted by soul, and making sure that when we are ripe enough, we are going to hear the call. We are going to not only hear, but respond to the call. Mm-hmm.
And that hunger, that passion might lead us to traveling, for example, traveling around the world or traveling within ourselves. And we may find ourselves in strange lands where nothing looks the same, yet there's something on this earth. Maybe it's the song of the ancestors. Maybe it's the smoke coming out of chimneys. Maybe it's the cry of wild animals at night in those forests. And maybe it's just the fact of being somewhere else that allows us to hear it and to hear ourselves louder. But there's something happening there that in the song of the place that wakes us up. or that enhances what was already alive. Maybe those tattoos on our skin, they tickle, they vibrate. Maybe the owl, the spider, the salmon, the moon lodged somewhere on our wrists, on our kidneys, is coming alive. Maybe it's their time to play their role and animate us. And we may come back from this travel to the village of man, to the village of humans, with new gifts, with new visions, vulnerable like small seeds. And we may find the courage to commit to them. And we may ask the question, how do I live this more? And we may be supported, listened to, looked into, or we may feel like it's just a bit too much. Like all this wildness, new wildness in us is making us unfit for our human culture. And we may choose to dig it, to put it underground again. We may choose to choose the way of conformity again in some way. And we may build ourselves a life that somehow satisfies us, building what we think is us or what others think is us. We may be wholly and fully satisfied in our forgetfulness, or we may do it while knowing that something is missing, that something isn't quite right. Yet we keep building because it's really hard to unbuild when there is no vision of what might come after, or when there's no one, no elder to guide us to build our own unique house. And so we might just build our first house in a way that in many ways has nothing to do with who we have come to be, or in a way that some rooms of the house are exactly who we are. It's probably a mix of both. And our society calls us an adult, but are we? Are we then an adult?
Mm. Mm. Mhm. And it might be that although everything on the surface looks great, or everything on the surface looks a mess, mhm, something deep within us is burning, is burning. There is a thirst for more. Maybe those glimpses of gifts found in that trip find their way into us through dreams or coincidence. Or maybe soul has other ways to make sure that the house we have built trembles enough so that we finally see out of the walls of the house. And when I say house, it might be the house, it might be the marriage, it might be the job, it might be the role we have taken, it might be the ways of being in the world. Maybe it is um, the what we have been offering so far. All that might start tremble because that's what soul does. She's so huge. She has a huge, stirring thing, and makes things swirl in life. And sometimes she creates earthquakes and things collapse, like health of our own, of our or our dear ones. That tragedies may happen, that divorce may happen, that job is not satisfying, or that um, the role we have does not serve us anymore. Or the shoes we are in brackets, shoes, are too small, or the clothes that we are in are too small, does not fit anymore. All these might happen in a form of crisis, of catastrophe, of turbulence, of earthquakes, so that we are shaken. So that we're shaken, and through the shakes, we are coming hopefully into a new life. We are shaken to what's the word? To remember, to remember the contract, to remember the one that is calling us over and over again, to remember the thread, to remember soul, to respond to the callings, to say finally, I hear you, you're here. I am getting here too. Let me make room. Let me make arrangements. Let me create the road to come there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and if in those moments of break, if we allow the break, if we allow the fall, if sometimes soul asks us to trust so much that we are asked to allow everything we knew to collapse, and everything we thought we were, and everything we thought was secure to collapse. If we allow it to collapse and break, instead of trying to patch it together to come back to that house, if we allow the ruins, if we allow the fall, and if it's our time, if it's mystery and soul's time, then we might just be blessed by an encounter with soul, our unique soul, the one that we know and that we have known all this time, that we've been in a hide and seek love story with. This one might just reach out to us now that we're at the most vulnerable, so that we can fully hear. It might be that we are suddenly taken by an encounter with a wild animal. There's something in the way this wolf howls in that night in those mountains that just makes the tattoos on our skin shiver. There's something in that dance, in the way our body are taken by a dance, that brings us back into, re-rails us into the life that we came to live. Remember, body being the vehicle that we were given to embody soul. Or it might be that this specific dream that we had at night electrified us, gave us a hint, gave us a picture, gave us a film to remind us of who we're meant to be, of who we already are, and of all the undoing that we're invited to do in order to remember who we are. And if we have the courage to say yes at this moment, to finally let go of everything that is not fully, truly us, we may say yes to our soul. And we may rise this time fully as an adult. An adult standing in our world, in touch with our gifts, infused with soulful vision to bring back to the village of man. And the road is not going to be easy, but we are determined, we are committed. We have married our soul, and all will follow. That soul encounter is like a rebirth. And it might be that we're blessed with a few of those, that we say yes to one, and that leads into another clue that was sent and another encounter. It's like we walk in the holy land of our soul because finally we're ready to listen and say yes.
Do you want to marry me? Soul is asking. We have to say yes. We have to say yes. And by saying yes, we are being recreated. And the way that we have been so far does not exist anymore. We are reshaped. Maybe the body looks a little bit dissimilar, but the way of being changes. And then life becomes a soulful life. And another journey begins, the one of apprenticing soul, of learning the ways of soul, of loving the gifts that we have been given, and exploring the thread that we have been given, and apprenticing and mastering eventually what we were born to be, so that hopefully one day, inshallah, we become elders, artisans, and then elders, artisans, the ones who are doing art, the ones who are being art, because I'm bringing back the word being. They are being art. They are doing art by the way of their being. It's not only some moments of the day. It's not only in the work time or when they are parents. It's through the way they are. And that's their art, by living by soul. And following that, being artisans, then we might be hopefully elders, the ones who have the vision and the mission to tend to everyone else's souls, human souls, and beings beyond humans, and tend the world and tend the cosmos, and offer prayers and offer guidance through the way of being, through the example, through other ways that are unique to each one of us. Yeah.
And as Thomas Berry says, saying yes to soul is no paradisal dream. It's not like it's all easy and sorted. It's a way of being. It's a way of holding the thread while life happens. And so soul might ask us again and again things that we could never imagine, things that are harder than we could ever imagine. Soul might ask us to transform over and over. Yeah, how to find the courage to say yes. Not even the first time, but again and again and again. Soul might ask us some difficult separations, difficult choices that are in service to earth and all living beings, but it's sometimes so hard to see that. But we may trust, and as we grow wiser and older, and as the marriage grows stronger and stronger, we continue to be transformed and shape-shifted into this wild being that we came to be. Until it's time for the vehicle of this body to withdraw, to leave us, until death comes. Until it's time for soul, our unique soul, to live yet another ultimate transformation and go on with her journey and say goodbye and thank you to the body. And at this moment, we might wonder, those tattoos, those keys, those visions, have they merged with our soul? So we take them with us? Do they remain unlived? Have they become invisible? And are they dead skin and bone? Or have they become fully alive? And will they follow us as we cross again? What kind of life have we lived? Have we lived what Earth needed us to live? Have we been fully alive? Have we been in service? Have we been in our true, authentic service, not the sacrificial, self-negating one? Have we been fully alive?
And that's the story of soul. That's the story of soul. Our soul, each one of us, maybe. Mhm. And that's how it all comes from the darkness and goes back to the darkness. And in that glimpse of life called life, we need to hold Goddess' hand and follow soul's thread. Hmm. Yeah, so we allow you for a moment to linger with the story, to just be uh, with the images, the questions that this maybe story brings, including the question, how do I find the courage to say yes to soul? So just be with this for a few seconds as another invitation will come soon.
And you may want to be as well with the questions of your own life as you have lived it so far. And how might everything you have lived so far been an expression of the life of your soul? How has every encounter, crisis, call, how has everything you have lived been an expression of your soul? How have you seen it or not seen it? You might just wonder with those questions.
As you're reflecting here, music will be in the background to support your reflection. And now as you're gathering all your reflections, all the corners of your life, all the happenings, yeah, we're inviting you to look at it from a perspective of a story, as if your life is a story and you're living the story of your soul. And we are curious and delighted to see what's the title of your story of soul. What's the title of your story of soul? And we're inviting you to drop it here in the chat, and know that by writing it, you give us permission to read it out loud and to be in the recording and serve as an inspiration maybe for others, and maybe also for you as you are listening to your own reflection in a way. So what's your story of your soul? That's the question. And yeah, if you were looking forward to muse on your story titles, it might be something that just catches you, a title that just takes you, or it might be something that emerges from everything that you have been reflecting on. Mm. Well, there are some titles arriving, some precious, precious, precious soul stories. One of them is entitled The Last Attempt, a relentless commitment and devotion to truthful living. Aho. Hello. Another one is called Being the Embodiment of Love. Hello to you too, dear one. Beautiful. Another one is called Remembrance. Just one word, but so, so much included there. Welcome, Remembrance. Another one is entitled In Search for That Which Makes Me Feel Most Alive. Beautiful. Aho. May it be so. Another one is called Learning to Degrow. Not to grow, to degrow. Greetings, dear one, learning to degrow. Another one is called Shine My Darkness. Yes. Aho. The raging love of one, and I'm sorry, maybe I'm not aware of this word very clearly, but I will try. Oh, Moonlight, do you want to read this one?
The
Yes, please
raging
honor
love.
it.
The raging love of one untethered.
Beautiful.
Oh.
You can go on, Moonlight.
And finally, bringing to the light what I already know. Well, thank you for entrusting us with those very, very precious titles. Somehow spontaneous, maybe, who knows? Titles of stories. What we invite you to do is to not put this story back on the shelf with all the other books that gather dust. To not, put that on the side and then keep going, but to actually give it place, to place it at the center. You may want to write this title and adorn it, decorate it, really celebrate it. And who knows, the title might change, but right now it's true. So you may want to really celebrate it and paint it and sorry. Or you may want to draw it. You may want to make a drawing that illustrates this title or a painting. And then once you have that, why not give it center stage, centerpiece of your life, in your daily life, and see what happens? The invitation we have for you is to build an altar to that story, an altar to your story of soul. So find somewhere in your home, in your living room, in your bedroom, in your garden, to create a tiny or big sacred space where you make this title visible, and where maybe other objects or beings or pictures or poems will find their way. And I'm seeing another title rushing in, The Love of Being. Welcome. So really, honor it, give it place so that it can take place. It can take its place and it can take you, or it can continue to take you. So an altar to your story of soul. You may want to visit it every day. Say hello to it. Wonder in the evening, how has my day been an illustration of this story? Or how am I shape-shifting into another story? You may be in conversation with that altar.
Maybe how can I be more of that story in the next day, tomorrow? So keep that very close to you, very close to your heart, and knowing that, the more closer we get it, the more we are in service to the earth, and remembering that we have dedicated this day, this webinar, to the earth and all the living beings on earth, human and more than human, to our ancestors, to the ones that are going to come, not the ones right after, but even 7, 8, 9 generations in the future. We're inviting you to, get back to the fire and earth, which have been supporting us all time. The candle that has been sitting here next to us, perhaps listening secretly to our thoughts, to our questions, to our doubts, to our longings, to our stories. May we ask ourselves how my presence today in this webinar served, in what ways served is serving, will serve the earth and the 7 generations to come. May we say gratitude for the trust they have in us and the faith they have in us. And thank you, fire, for keeping us company, sacred company. With this being said, let us inhale the fire, and then blowing off the candle, we keep the fire within. Beware as we are crossing again the veil to the ordinary world. Be conscious of how you're going to stand up from the chair, sofa, bed, how you're going to take your first step. What is your first move? Is it going to pick up the phone or do something else? How your right now next move will be the one that is connected to the title of your soul story. Yeah. And thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for your presence here. And thank you for living your stories and for offering them up to Earth and all living beings. And if you like, and if you can, we'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, indeed. Yes. Yeah. Much love and blessings to all of you. Bye-bye.